Hello everybody, this is Bobo here, bringing you another shard pulling event. I know my page is kind of full of them. That's because I'm, getting into a couple different newer accounts. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull and try to get the best I can for them. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and clear some space. Take this all the way to 100. Which means I can pull 70, which is exactly what I am trying to pull. Alright, now what we're trying to do in this... Oh, I don't even have it yet, so hold on and let me be right back. I gotta unlock that event. Alright, I'm back everybody. So I had to get into here for this Summon a Rush event. We're gonna go ahead and try to pull to get all these rewards. All of these rewards, and at least to this reward. Now if I go over a little bit, I might extend it to this and this one, or I might just take it all the way down there. So I mean, we'll see. Let's back up. Let's make sure that I cleared that out. 30 to 100. Yep, we got 74. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, right off the bat, we got Lady Annabelle. She is a legend at handling Bommel. She has attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit heals this champion by 3% of their max HP. Her A2 is attacks all enemies. Has a 75% chance of placing a leech debuff for 2 turns. Also has a 75% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed buff for 2 turns on the target with less than 50% turn meter. Okay, here's where it starts to get interesting. Swaps HP with a target ally if this champion's HP is equal to or higher than the target's. After the swap, places a revive on death buff on the target ally for 2 turns. If this champion's HP is lower than the target's after the swap, replaces a revive on death buff on this champion for 2 turns. Also places a 30% increased speed buff on allies for 2 turns. And then this one. This one right here is what makes her so amazing at Bommel. Heals this champion by 50% of their max HP whenever an ally or an enemy dies. So, if you have anybody on your team that dies, she gets a 50% health increase, which could, boom, bump her back up to 100. Then, boom, she hits a health swap with somebody. Then, boom, one of the enemies dies. Boom, she gets another 50% health increase. Amazing champion. Now, she's limited in where she's good, but Bommel is one place where she is amazing. Fang Selric. Attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of transferring one random debuff from this champion to the target. Okay, and you can book that up to 100% chance. Heals an ally by 20% at this champion's max HP. Also fills the target's turn meter by 30%. If they are fully healed by this skill, places a veil buff on the target for one turn. If they are not fully healed by the skill, okay. Obviously, you want to ascend him. So, revives a dead ally with 30% HP, then fills their turn meter with 30%. Also places an unkillable buff on the target for one turn, and a 15% continuous heal buff for 2 turns. Now, me personally, I like skills like this, where they revive you and they give you some turn meter. Not a big fan of champions that revive you and you have no turn meter. So then you're just sitting there waiting to get hit again and killed again anyway. So it's like, what was the point of reviving you? So I'm much rather like these. Then he has a increase ally speed in all battles by 15%. Awesome. This guy would probably be a good aura lead for your faction wars. He's got an unkillable, he's got a revive, he's got a revive on death, it brings some heal, and he's got the increased speed. Let's go for number 2. Oh, that was a terrible pull. Alright, I just want to make sure that. Oh, I hit the wrong one. Okay, this guy is kind of like Turvold, only he kind of sucks. But I'll go ahead and, for early accounts, he could be good. I've never used him in an early account. I know he looks just like Turvold. Attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of placing a 30% decreased defense. Attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing an HP buff for 2 turns. Attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing an HP buff for 4 turns. Okay. That's not too bad. Wouldn't mind having an HP buff for 4 turns on a 4-turn. Or even a 4-turn buff on a 3-turn. Attack one enemy, destroys the target's max HP by 30% of the damage inflicted. Damage increases by 50% if the target is under a HP burn. Okay, that's not too bad. And then he has a increase ally HP and faction crypts by a solid 29%. So again, this guy would probably be really good in your faction crypts or general progression in early, in early game. Getting through them campaigns. Or now, out of the 2 bears, I do like the other one's longer claws. I'm not a fan that this one's just got like brass knuckles, I guess you could say. But he is the better bear out of the 2. He attacks one enemy, has a 35% chance of increasing the cooldown of one of the target's skills by 1 turn at random. That's on his A1. So the more you can get him to go and the faster you can go, the better off his chances of cooling down your team's skills. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 75% chance of decreasing the turn meter by 5%. Decrease the turn meter by 10% instead if the target is under a decreased attack. Okay. Attacks all enemies. Has a 75% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack buff for 2 turns. And then each hit has a 50% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 7.5%. Each hit also has a 50% chance of putting one of the target's skills on cooldown if the target is under a decreased crit buff. Not too shabby. Ugh. Looks like I'm full. Oh, because of one person. It's so stupid. I need to change this so that it automatically puts these guys when I go in here and pull them into the vault. It's a lot easier to now I'll go back through and talk about some of these other people that I've pulled, such as War Priest, Alkalite of the Slither, Chillgrave, or whatever her name is. Come on. Let's get what we came for. There we go. Got what we came for. We got the Deacon Armstrong. Nice. I would really like to get the Hilvey though. And that would be amazing if I could go ahead and get that Hilvey. Give me the Hilvey. Oh man. I thought that guy was Volgoth at first. Nope. Alright, let's go down here. Okay. Attack one enemy has a 50% chance of instantly activating HP burn on the target. Attacks 3 times at random. Each hit has a 75% chance of placing an HP burn buff for 2 turns. Attacks all enemies has a 75% chance of placing a provoke. Sucks that provokes on a 4-turn. And increases his champion's defense by 2% each time an HP burn debuff is activated on enemies. That's up to 20%. I was hoping to get something good out of that, but nope. Be really nice if I could get one of these two again. On my last pull, if you go back and watch my other videos, I got 3 a Deacon on my other pulls. So let's go ahead and pull these. Let's hope for some red. Slightly unlikely, but You know, we can dream. We can dream for some red in there. Although I've never pulled a mythical out of all the shards I've pulled. Okay, this guy's fairly decent. Attack one enemy has a 50% chance of placing a 5% poison. Attacks one enemy if this champion is under one or more debuff. This attack will ignore 30% of the defense. If this champion is under 2 or more debuffs, enemies killed by this skill cannot be revived. If this champion is under 3 or more debuffs, this attack will always crit. If this champion is under 4 or more debuffs, this champion heals by 30% of the damage inflicted. If this champion is under 5 or more debuffs, grants an extra turn and removes all debuffs from this champion after the attack. Now the only thing I don't like about that move is that it's after the attack, not before. Place a 2.5% poison buff on this champion for 4 turns at the start of each turn. Don't really get why you put a poison on itself. Place a 2.5% poison debuff on this champion for 4 turns at the start of each turn. Has a 70% chance of placing poison debuff on a random enemy for 4 turns at the start of each turn. Like what are we doing here, player? I don't get where they get these ideas of where they're like, let's kill our own people. Oh, who'd we get? Got her. Let's go, baby. Let's fucking go. Oh my god, yes. I mean, I wanted Hilvy, but she is just as fucking good. Attacks on enemies, transfers all debuffs from this champion to the target. This effect cannot be resisted if this champion is under 3 or more debuffs. Heals all allies by 25% of this champion's max HP. Then places a 60% increased debuff for 30%, or hold on. Then places a 60% increased defense buff and a 30% increased speed buff on all allies. So she's upping the allies' defense and their speed for 2 turns. And we can book that down to a 3 turn. Revives a single ally with 100% HP and 50% turn meter. Fully resets the cooldown of all their skills. So if you have a champion that dies where all their skills are on cooldown, they are instantly back in the game with all of their stuff. And usually it's your nukers that tend to get killed first. And their skills are usually on cooldown when they get killed. That's awesome, because then they come back and all their stuff is ready to go. At the start of this champion's turn, transfers 1 debuff from each ally to this champion. So boom, there's her debuffs. If you got 3 people on your team and she transfers 1 debuff from all of them to her, there's her 3 debuffs. Will not transfer stun, sleep, freeze, provoke, fear, true fear, petrification, or sheep debuffs. This effect cannot be resisted or blocked. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. This skill will not activate on duplicate copies of this champion if this particular champion is dead. Well, that's stupid. I mean, if she's fucking dead, why wouldn't theirs? Whatever. Which, don't get me wrong, I can understand not having that happen on two different characters on two different teams, because then people could just stack teams with multiples of the same character who have these like outlandish, crazy passives and just sit there and destroy people. So I get it. But if my champion's dead and their passive isn't working, if they're dead, which I don't know if her passive still works or not when she's dead. But if it doesn't, then I don't see why it would matter if I had two of them on there and the other ones work. But whatever. At the end of this champion's turn, fills the turn meter of all allies by 10%, and an additional 2% for each debuff on this champion. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. Yeah, blah 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 blah. And then she has a increase ally speed in all battles by 20%. That's amazing. Really solid champion, and her aesthetics are sweet. I like it. Alright, let's see who this other person is. Come on, red. Nope. I'll take that though. I wish it would have been, who is it? Catraxia, maybe? She's like silver. I'd rather have her, but whatever. This one is attack when enemy damage increases by 20% while attacking under a veil. Heals the champion by 20% of the damage inflicted while attacking without a veil buff. Attacks one enemy damage based on attack. That's it. That's it. Unless you ascend her. And then once you ascend her, you get attacks when enemy damage increases by 30% while attacking under a veil buff. While attacking under a veil buff, enemies killed by this skill cannot be revived. While attacking without a veil buff, fully depletes the target's turn meter and fills this champion's turn meter equal to the amount the target loses. Okay. So it's like a turn meter transfer. I attack somebody with high turn meter, it transfers back to her after she just used her turn meter, so it instantly gets her ready to go again. Can only decrease the turn meter by up to 50% against bosses. This turn meter decrease cannot be resisted. Okay, that's cool. Place a veil on this champion at the beginning of each round. Wait, what? Place a veil buff on this champion for one turn at the beginning of each round. Okay, if it's for one turn and it's at the beginning of each round, wouldn't she always be under it? And then place a veil buff on this champion for one turn each time they kill an enemy. Okay, that, whatever. If anybody really understands that, please let me know. Let's see where we're at on this. I would have loved for that to be Geomancer. what are we at? $120 would put that, if I open another void shard, it'd be 120. So I'd put that at 3,900. So I would need another 1,200. Okay. I don't want to open up a ton of these. Or these. Okay, I'm going to go back to these. I'm going to open a few more of these. I don't think I've ever got a void. Okay. I mean, this guy is a rare. But he is amazing. If you want a consistent decreased speed buff, right here it is. Attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 35% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed buff. Okay, now that can be boosted up to 50% with the books. So if he hits 3 times, you got 350% chances of hitting. You should hit the decreased speed at least once every time he attacks with this A1. And then he attacks all enemies. Has a 50% chance of placing a provoke for 1 turn. Place a counterattack buff on this champion for 2 turns. Also place a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. You can book that down to a 3 turn. Decrease the damage this champion receives by 5% for each ally under the ally protection buff. Okay. Really solid champion right there. Okay, Doom Screech. Now this guy isn't Seeker, but I mean you can do some good things with him. Attack one enemy 2 times, has a 25% chance of placing a decreased accuracy. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 30%, places a 60%. You can book that down to a 3 turn. Place a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. Attacks all enemies. Place a shield buff equal to 30%. Max HP of this champion for 2 turns. Damage increases according to this champion's current HP. And then increases ally HP and faction crits by 21%. Alright, we'll go ahead and open this one. And we'll go back and see where we are. We went a little bit over. So what do I gotta open? I need to open 1 more void shard to get that other chicken. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let's just go ahead and open the 4. Okay. From what I hear, she can smack. So attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit will ignore 30% of the target's defense. Place a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns. The value of the shield is equal to 20% of the damage inflicted. After extended attacks, one enemy will ignore 50% of the target's defense. Yeah, I can see why. When attacking under a shield buff, heals his champion by 50% of the damage inflicted. Nice. Places a shield buff on this champion equal to any surplus heals for 3 turns. Okay. Attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit will ignore 25%. Okay, so she would be good in some like savage gear or other gear that has the additional any other team that has the or gear that has the additional ignore defense, because then that would stack on top of each one of these defenses. So on this one, you can, depending on which gear you use, you can increase the ignore defense by up to 70+%. So that's amazing. Awesome. And the last one, can we get gold? Can we get gold? Can we? No, we cannot. Okay, that's fine. And let's go see where that got us. Dang, I'm still a little short. What? How much am I short? Another 120. Okay, I'm not going to pull any more of those. I'm just going to pull a few of these. And that should be enough. What the still 20 short. I guess my math's off today. Okay, now we're there. Go ahead and collect these. Now I think what happened on some of my other accounts that I pulled on, the reason I didn't have to pull as many on them is because I pulled this here summon pool. Now when the event's over, it says it pulls for you. I'm not sure if it does or not, or if it just said it does, but I'm going to wait till the next event and, go ahead and, grab that, because notice in this right here, we have a chance, which I'm not really understanding how I got to 75 on that, but and out of all those pools, I only got one champion for the Mikage. Okay, I got a few champions for there. Alright, that seems to be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, please leave them in the messages, and I'd love to hear from you. Leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more videos from me, and we'll see you next time.